I tell you, you are operating the law in reverse. Most of you believe that when the money appears in your bank account, then you will feel secure. You believe that when the debt is finally paid, then you will feel abundant. You stand before the mirror of life, waiting for the reflection to smile at you first. You say to the world, show me the money, and then I will believe I am wealthy. And the world, being a faithful servant of your inner state, looks back at you with a frown and says, no, you smile first. This is the fatal reversal. This is the great deception that keeps millions in a state of spiritual slumber and financial lack. You are waiting for the evidence of your senses to permit you to feel wealthy. But I tell you, if you wait for the evidence, you will wait forever. Because money does not create wealth consciousness. Wealth consciousness creates money. The world has taught you that circumstances are the cause and your feelings are the effect. That is a lie. Your consciousness is the only cause. Your circumstances are nothing but the shadows cast by the furniture of your mind. If you are living in a state of lack, waiting for the shadows to change shape before you change your mind, you are a slave to the shadow. You must stop worshiping the facts of the day. To the spiritual man, facts are not final. Facts are fluid. But as long as you bow down to them, checking your balance with anxiety, trembling at the arrival of a bill, you are commanding those facts to harden into stone. You want the how. You want the technique. But no technique will work if you are still operating the law backwards. You must first understand the authority you possess. I know how difficult this sounds. I know it offends your reason. I know this because I once stood exactly where you are, destitute and desperate, until a door was slammed in my face. I learned the law from my teacher Abdullah, but I saw the living proof of wealth in my own brother Victor. Victor did not chase money. He did not struggle. While other men in Barbados worked themselves into an early grave trying to accumulate wealth, Victor did something that looked like laziness to the untrained eye. Every day after lunch, Victor would sit in his chair. He did not pick up the phone. He did not look at ledgers. He closed his eyes for 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. In those 2 minutes, he was not hoping for wealth. He was standing in the presence of it. There was a building in Barbados on the main street, a property owned by a family that vowed never to sell it. The fact said, not for sale. The logic said, impossible. But Victor did not care about facts. In his imagination, he stood across the street and looked at that building. He did not see the old sign. He saw a new marquee that read J.N. Goddard and Sons. He saw it vividly. He smelled the fresh paint. He felt the satisfaction of ownership. And then he opened his eyes, went back to work, and forgot about it. He slammed the door on the evidence that it was not for sale. Do you know what happened? A stranger came to the island, bought the property, and then, for reasons logic cannot explain, came to Victor the very next day and offered to sell it to him at a bargain price. The building that was impossible to get became the foundation of our family's empire. Victor did not chase the deal. The deal chased him. Why? Because he was already owning it in consciousness. You see, money is like a jealous lover. If you chase it desperately, it runs away. But if you ignore it and sit in the confidence of your own worth, it comes to you. But Victor had a secret. He knew that to occupy this state of wealth, a specific part of him had to die. And this is the part you are afraid to kill. Now, I hear the question burning in your mind. You ask, Neville, I see how it worked for Victor, but my situation is different. Can I really do this? I tell you, your situation is not different, but your willingness is. Victor was willing to do the one thing you are afraid to do. He was willing to let the old version of himself die. Most of you fail because you are trying to pour new wine into old wineskins. You are trying to add the feeling of wealth onto your current self, the self that feels like a victor. It is impossible. The consciousness of wealth is not just about money in the bank. It is a total change of personality. Abdullah once told me a cryptic sentence that haunted me for years. Before I left for Barbados, he said, "Neville, when you return from Barbados, you will have died." He meant that the poor Neville, the man who begged for money, the man who worried about his future, had to completely cease to exist so that the new Neville could be born. You see, the wealthy you thinks differently, walks differently, reacts differently. The wealthy you does not hoard. He flows. The wealthy you does not worry about tomorrow. He commands it. If you want the money, you must kill the beggar inside you. You must kill the part of you that checks the price tag with fear. You must kill the part of you that says, "I can't afford it," every time you see something beautiful. I am not telling you to spend money you do not have. That is foolishness. I am telling you to stop feeling like the person who doesn't have it. Victor did not have the deed to the building when he visualized, but he killed the tenant mentality and assumed the owner mentality. He walked past that building, not as a man wishing for it, but as a man inspecting his own property. The difference is subtle, but it is the difference between a daydream and a creation. A daydreamer thinks of the end. He looks at it like a movie. A creator thinks from the end. He wears it like a suit of clothes. Tonight, you must ask yourself, who is the old man that is blocking my blessing? Is it the victim, the warrior, the struggle addict? Identify him and then bid him goodbye. Once the old man is dead, you do not need to struggle. You enter a state called the Sabbath. And this is how you know it is done. The Sabbath is not Sunday. It is not a day of worship. The Sabbath is the state of mental rest that comes after the seed has been planted. How do you know you have successfully planted the seed of wealth? You stop looking for it. Think of a pregnancy. Once a woman is pregnant, she does not try to get pregnant again tomorrow. She does not check every hour to see if the baby is there. She knows. She is certain. She rests in the conviction that the child, though invisible to the world, is already a reality within her. She goes about her life, but she is different. She eats differently. She moves with care. She prepares a room for a guest who has not yet arrived. This is exactly what you must do with your wealth. Most of you plant the seed in your imagination, but then you dig it up 10 minutes later with your doubt. You visualize wealth in the morning, but at noon you are crying over a bill. You have dug up the seed. You have aborted the pregnancy. To enter the Sabbath means you keep your hands off the mental seed. You do not help God. You do not force the how. If you are still anxious, if you are still plotting and scheming how to get the money, you have not entered the Sabbath. You are still barren. When Victor visualized that building, he did not go and harass the owner. He did not check the newspaper ads. He did his job, and then he dropped it. He entered the Sabbath, and because he did not interfere, the law was free to build a bridge of incidents that no man could have devised. So tonight, I challenge you, assume the state of the wish fulfilled. Feel the ring of wealth on your finger. Feel the security of the overflowing account. and then leave it alone. Walk through your day with the secret knowledge that it is done. Do not look for signs. The pregnancy is the sign. The peace is the proof. If you can do this, if you can dare to rest while the world tells you to panic, then the money must appear. It has no choice. Now let us place the final seal upon this instruction. Let us make it irrevocable. You do not need to struggle anymore. You do not need to beg. You only need to accept. I want you to bring before your mind's eye the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Do not think of the money. Do not see piles of paper. That is for children. Think from the relief. Ask yourself, how would I feel right now if financial freedom were my present fact? Would you feel anxious? No. You would feel a profound heaviness lift off your chest. You would take a deep breath and you would whisper 3 simple words, not words of hoping, but words of having. You would say, thank you, Father. Thank you for my freedom. Feel the reality of that gratitude. You cannot say thank you for something you do not have. The moment you say thank you with feeling, you are confessing that you already have it. That gratitude is the seal of the contract. Sustain that feeling for just a moment. Make it real. Touch it. Breathe it. And now drop it. Let it go completely. Do not carry the seed around in your hand to check if it is growing. Plant it in the darkness of the mind and walk away. Slam the door of the old story. Victor did not check the building every hour. He trusted the unseen reality. You must do the same. The bridge of incidents is being built. The people are moving. The circumstances are shifting. You have done your part. Now, let the Father do his work. If you are ready to stop chasing and start receiving, then make this covenant with yourself. Write it upon the tablet of your heart. Let the old man die, so the new man may live. Live in the end, and the end will find you. It is done. Now, let us go into the silence.